Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Please be seated. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our Master of Ceremonies this evening, Senor Houseman. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Roberto a warm welcome.
I love how you said senor.
Senor. Now, Roberto, tell us, why is it that you are always referred to as the King of Diversity?
The King of Diversity. I was planning to start with something else, but since you asked. Well, I guess it's because my grandparents from my mother's side were from Hungary, from my father's side from Mexico. I was born in South America, in Uruguay, which is where they immigrated to. Then I came to Canada, and I married a Korean woman. And I have 3 daughters who are Canadian, of course. And one of them apparently is really in love with somebody from India. So I don't think it's going to get much more multicultural like that and more diverse. And yes, I do speak 6 languages and a few words even in Greek. Anybody Greek here tonight? Yeah? So, Yasophile and Tikanis. Oh yeah, the owner of, let's give a round of applause to the owner of this place. Now, I don't know if all of you noticed as you came here that there was absolutely no snow storm, no ice storm, no rain, never mind, no tsunami, no volcanoes, all those things. But I really have to thank Mr. Thomas Saras, who I'm going to introduce now, because as you know, Thomas Saras is a man who believes in God very strongly, and he's actually the one who made the arrangements with the Almighty. He said, make sure that if there's going to be 3,000 accidents, a lot of snow, make it happen on Thursday, not Friday. And he did it. So it's my great pleasure to introduce to you the one and only Thomas Saras.
Ugar έρχεται, well, in Greek, the ancient Greeks used to say, the old age not comes alone. It comes with other stuff. And in my case, I have to wear those things to see what exactly I want. They prepare for me to tell you. Your Majesties, the distinguished guests, members of the diplomatic corps, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters in Canada's ethnic media and press. It is an honor and indeed a distinct privilege for me and my colleagues to welcome you all today as we gather to celebrate the end of the year. 1 year full of struggles for better life, for equal opportunities, for the creation of a society inclusive to every Canadian and his aspirations. Unfortunately, the Premier is not here, the Mayor is not here to hear those things, but I hope that they are going to learn from the CP24. For a society where social justice is going to be paramount, to this extent, I am really proud to welcome you today, as from my personal knowledge, I know that both the Premier and the Mayor sharing these ideas and policies. As a matter of fact, I know both of them since they were little kids, and especially John Tory, with whom sometimes we had good times and sometimes bad times, but always we respected to each other. Today we are faced with the preeminent fact that if our civilization is to survive, we must cultivate the science of human relationships, the ability of all peoples, of all kinds, to live together and work together at peace and cooperation. Civilization, after all, is not national, rather is international, even though that observation, ideas are not limited by borders, but they are the common inheritance for all free people. It is therefore that peace depends upon the acceptance of the principles and practices of the good neighbor. The members of this organization are working hard to spread the message of all three levels of our government in order to create a well-informed Canadian citizenship by providing information about policies, then inherent right to work, a right which consists one of the primate element of and privileges of the people. Unemployment is a problem for the entire community. It is a social tragedy for the individual who denied the opportunity to work and earn, and we should agree that it is to our interest to make sure that every citizen enjoys this right. Thousands today are living under conditions which fail to comply with minimum standards of health, safety and decency, and the continued existence of these conditions breed disease and crime, as well impairs the health and vitality of our present and future generations. As a press association, the National Ethnic Press and Media Council of Canada is collecting and disseminating news, and its members are informing the members of the multicultural communities about the policies of the Canadian government. And I hope that the government of Premier Kathleen Wynne and the administration of John Tory will take seriously the fact that the members of the ethnic press has also to survive. And in order to survive, they need the government to support them by small or big advertisement. As today we gather here to celebrate the end of one year and express our hopes for the new one, I want to thank you for the honor of your presence to our celebrations. On behalf of the members of the board and the 750 members publications of this organization from all over Canada, please allow me to wish you all safe season greetings and happy, healthy, and prosperous New Year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Saras. Make sure that if we meet here next year, you do the same thing. Arrange for any bad weather the day before.
Yes.
Now, I know that we're supposed to have Councillor Norm Kelly, but I don't think he's in the house, so I'm going to call somebody very special that when I used to introduce him in the past, I used to say MP, Jim Karygiannis. And now I have to introduce him as a councillor, but the interesting thing is, as you all know, he's Greek, but he doesn't have an accent. Me, when I walked in here, somebody said, "Are you Hispanic? Are you Latino?" And I look at him and say, "You talking to me, man?" So I give myself away. But with Jim, you never know, right? But he's a proud member of the Greek community, and now he's a proud city councillor. Let's give it up for Jim Karygiannis.
Gracias and buenas noches. That's where I stop, my friend. I can probably say good evening in about 2 more languages, and I'm going to stop there. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here with you tonight. And from what I can see tonight, I'm not sure if it's because of John Tory that you're all gathered here, or Kathleen Wynne. But you know what? I'm going to say you're here because of me. My wife will certainly agree with that. That's all I get? It's a pleasure to be with you. I'm going to make it very short and wish you all season's greetings. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Hanukkah. Anything else? Hold on. That's where we got this month. Next month we'll see. There's going to be some more. It's a pleasure to be with you and wish you all the best. And here comes the former deputy mayor. Come on, Norm. I think he wants a standing ovation. He got one at City Hall. Folks, thanks for having me. And I'll have to say this much. For all of us at City Hall, to all of you, our doors are open. The City Hall belongs to you. Do not hesitate for 30 seconds to come and visit any one of us. This is your City Hall, and we really mean that. Thanks for having me. And on behalf of, well, he's going to be coming in shortly. I'm not going to say that. From all of us to all of you, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
I know he doesn't like me to say that he could be the next chief of police of Toronto, right? But I'm going to still say, Deputy Chief Peter Slowly.
You never want to follow Roberto to a microphone, never mind Jim Karagianis, but the pressure's on. He said, I'm a funny guy. I don't really have anything funny to tell you. But I want to say something seriously here tonight. And I've said this before. This is one of the most important functions that I come to every year. We have seen in this society some massive changes, and we are under pressure for even more changes. If we look south of the borders in the policing context, and we can see things unfolding in places like Ferguson, in small town America, and in New York City, in big city America, and we can feel those pressures here. On the policing standpoint, this is a critical point in our history. I'm joined here tonight by Armand Labrage, one of the most progressive and respected police leaders anywhere in North America. And we're very much alive to the fact that policing is at a bit of a crossroads. And as we represent one of the most important democratic elements in any society, that we know that we have to lead even larger than we have before. But there is no more important democratic element than a functioning press, a free media, and particularly one that represents the immigrant voices and the ethnic voices. The National Ethnic Press and Media Council of Canada has been one of those most important democratic functions in this country. It speaks truth to power. It exposes corruption. It expresses the aspirations, and sometimes it expresses the frustrations of people of this country. I can tell you that the policing institution has been held to account by this very hospitable group that has invited us here today. We have been made better by the editorial coverage and the photographs. We have been made more accountable and made more transparent by the reporters and the editors in this room. And I know how tough it is in the media circles to stay alive and keep the bottom line and the profits going. You're probably not making any profits and your bottom line doesn't look that good. But I can tell you that you're an important institution, and you keep important institutions like the police honest and serving and protecting in the ways that we must. And so, my joke aside, I am very honored to be here representing Chief Blair, all the men and women of the Toronto Police Service. We are in your debt. We are in your service. Keep pushing us. We will get better because of you. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. Now, we do have somebody, Peter mentioned about texting, right? And the next person doesn't want to text you. He wants to say a few words. And I can't believe about texting these days. My kids, I have 3 of them, and they constantly text, and they do it so fast that I cannot believe it. And they say, Dad, you're such a dinosaur. Why don't you learn how to text? I said, look, with my eyesight, with those tiny little letters, by the time I click how are you, etc., etc. Isn't it faster if I call the person and talk to them? He says, no, you're behind the times, Texting is the thing. Now, the next person I'm going to introduce, although he came late, we're going to give him the privilege because he's a great, great man and a great city councilor now, Mr. Norm Kelly.
Well, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and I'll apologize for my tardiness. A busy day, places to go, things to do. The reference has been made by previous speakers about the changes that we've experienced in the City of Toronto over the decades. Looking back, there are 2 people that have been there for most of those changes. Tom is one of them. Tom Saras, an old friend, and myself. I have brought greetings as a Scarborough alderman, as a federal member of Parliament, as a Metro councillor, as a deputy mayor, and today I bring them as a councillor of the City of Toronto. I am delighted to be among you. The press of the City of Toronto, the multicultural press of the City of Toronto, has done a marvelous job of interpreting this city to the various cultural groups that have joined us, and to interpret their concerns, their aspirations, and their challenges to all three orders of government. And I hope that over the years that we have responded favorably, intelligently, and effectively to those. Toronto, I discovered in a very real way over the past year, has to be one of the most exciting cities in the world. And those who serve in any capacity, in politics, in the police, in the media, have got to be delighted to be a part of the life of this city. And I sincerely hope that as we go forward, that we will continue to make the contribution that has shaped the city over the last 4 or 5 or 6 decades. And I thank you very much for your time and your attention, and I'm looking forward to having a wonderful evening with you. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Shukran. Et Foristo. Sheshe.
What about muchas gracias? Oh, thank you. There are a few Hispanics in the city, you know. Just kidding. Now, talking about Hispanics, the next person I'm going to introduce to you, which I know him for many, many years, he's a wonderful representative of York Regional Police. And his name is Ricky Virapan. Now, with that name, you would imagine he has an accent, but he doesn't. Now, I know about accents because I'm a speaker and I travel the world speaking and giving speeches and teaching and stuff. And one time I went to Vancouver to give a speech. And one of the people told me, "Where are you from?" And I said, "From Toronto." I said, "Come on, with that accent?" So I said, "In Toronto, everybody talks like me." You name it, we have the accent. But now the man I'm introducing is Inspector Ricky Virapan, who does not have an accent. Ricky?
Thank you very much, Roberto. Good evening, President Thomas Saras, most honored and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Chief Eric Jolliffe and the over 2,000 men and women of York Regional Police, I extend sincere greetings and thank you for the invitation to have York Regional Police join you here at this evening's National Ethnic Press and Media Council of Canada's annual Christmas celebration. As you may know, our global community of York Region continues to have the proud distinction of being one of the most diverse communities in Canada, with residents who trace their ancestry and heritage to all corners of the world. At York Regional Police, we strive to embody the values of diversity and inclusion in our increasingly global community, while also acknowledging and celebrating the strength of diversity as a critically important component in our nation building. In this regard, we commend your stellar work in the promotion of excellence in journalism while exercising your privilege and duty to seek and publish the truth, defend free speech and the right to equal treatment under law, to capture the diversity of human experience, to speak for the voiceless and engage civic debate in order to build our communities and serve the public interest. This significant work, as expressed in your statement of principles regarding freedom of speech, fairness, diversity, right to privacy, and public interest, as well as your ethical guidelines, ensures that we listen to and acknowledge Canada's other voices in this, our nation of nations. Your leadership in action, which speaks louder than words, is indeed a testament to the rich that is our Canada and exemplifies the motto of York Regional Police, deeds speak. So on behalf of all of us at York Regional Police, I thank you for your most gracious hospitality, and I'm joined here by 4 other members of our team from York Regional Police. And I also want to acknowledge Chief Armand Labage, who is our former chief, and the reason I became an inspector, and Deputy Chief Peter Slowly. Please accept our very best wishes for much success, and we look forward to many future opportunities for friendship and collaboration. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays. Thank you very much.
What happened to Feliz Navidad? You guys... Now, I'm supposed to introduce you to somebody who is not here, but I'm going to call their names, which is the Honorable Alex Ioannidis, the Consul General of Greece.
He's here.
He's here? Oh, so I would like to acknowledge you, sir. Let's give him a round of applause. And the Honorable Konstantin Christofidis, Consul General of Cyprus. Is he here? Yes, sir. Since I am acknowledging, or in the mood of acknowledging, I'm going to also acknowledge somebody who's not in my list, but I love her a lot. She's very dear to all of us, and that is our one and only Jean Agustin. And since I am on those two tables, we have somebody very, very special and very colorful, which I'm going to call on, which is it's called the Asalefoheme of Toronto, which means the King of Toronto Honorary from Ghana, and that is Nana Anokie Bresiama. So please stand up, sir. Now, stay standing. Please stay standing. Do you speak English, or should I speak to you in Twi? Stay standing. What ya say? What ya na? That means, do you understand in Twi? Stay standing, because what would a king be without a queen? So, of course, we have Asante, watch on to this name, okay? Nana Kunamini Gyafimi, the Queen Mother of Toronto. And what would a king and a queen be without their honorary, let's call them children? So please rise and be noticed, because with those colorful attires, how can you go unnoticed? Congratulations. And I know several of you might want to take a picture with them. I did. So you can see them later. And there is no charge. It's not like Disney World, okay? Thank you. All right, the Premier is here. No, that's Mr. Saras. That's Mr. Saras. Now she comes.
Yeah, when he comes in here, we'll let the Premier speak. Ladies and gentlemen, we're just waiting for one more guest.
At this time, it is my great honor to introduce Premier Kathleen Wynne. Kathleen Wynne was sworn in as the 25th Premier of Ontario on February 11th, 2013, and on June 12th of this year was sent back to Queen's Park with a new majority mandate from the people of Ontario. Premier Wynne has served the people of Don Valley West as their MPP since 2003 and has held a variety of cabinet positions, including Minister of Agriculture and Food, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, Minister of Aboriginal Affairs, Minister of Transportation, and Minister of Education. Premier Wynne began her political career as a school trustee and has demonstrated a commitment to collaboration and inclusivity in every role she has tackled since. A passionate advocate for all Ontarians, Premier Wynne believes in creating a fair, strong province where everyone has the opportunity to succeed. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Premier Kathleen Wynne.
Thank you very much, everyone, and I apologize for being a bit late, but I'm here. And welcome to Don Valley West. We are in beautiful Don Valley West. thanks for everyone for being here. And I was just saying, this event seems to get bigger every year. It's amazing. So it's wonderful to be here. Bonsoir, Ani, Bonjour. And I want to acknowledge that we're on the traditional territory of the Mississaugas of the New Credit. That's where we are meeting tonight. And Maria, thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you, Thomas, for inviting me and for everything that the National Ethnic Press and Media Council does to strengthen Canada's media landscape and our society, because this is more than just about the media business. This is about our society, and that's what I want to talk about a little bit tonight. I'm honored to be back with you for your annual get-together, and I will make it around to the tables to say hello to you. But I want to celebrate tonight the Council's work by talking about the relationship between the ethnic media, the mainstream media, and the fair and equitable society that we are all building together here in Ontario, because it's an ongoing process. It's not a work that is complete. We are doing that together every day. Canada's immigration policies are always evolving, as we know, they evolve. But no matter whether your roots here start with a wave of immigration in the 1880s or in the 1970s, most of us were welcomed here to fulfill the same simple government objective, and that was population growth. And it explains why, as we together welcome more Canadians from more countries, and we did that in the post-war decades, multiculturalism was understood with words like tolerance. We talked about tolerance a lot when I was a young kid growing up. We talked about acceptance, but it doesn't explain that those waves of immigration doesn't explain over the last several decades how Canada has evolved to become a truly multicultural society, a society in which the words tolerance and acceptance now actually speak to old ideas, and an Ontario that takes pride in diversity as one of its greatest strengths. So we've moved beyond tolerating one another, and we are, weaving together a society that really is a model for the world. So how has that happened? In becoming a world leader, in welcoming newcomers, we've learned, all of us, that different voices are not just a necessity to be tolerated, but they're to be celebrated. So the question that I think we ask tonight is, could we have done this without the contribution of our strong and pluralistic ethnic press and the work that their voices have done through the Council? And I think the answer is no. I think that the role that has been played by the people in this room and the people who came before you has been absolutely essential to the strength of the society that we live in today. The stories that you tell and the work that you do and have been doing are absolutely vital in shaping the Canada that we all take enormous pride in today. Les histoires que vous racontez, de même que le travail que vous faites, sont absolument essentielles pour nous permettre de façonner le Canada dont nous sommes si fiers aujourd'hui. Even from the days before Confederation, the ethnic media played this important role. Granted, diversity in 1788 was not the same in Ontario and in Canada as it is today, but that was the year that Die Welt und Neustädtländische Korrespondenz became the first foreign language newspaper published in Canada. It was German. By 1905, though, the Canadian Almanac listed 18 foreign language publications in Canada. For the large numbers of Canadians not fluent in French or English, these publications were the lifelines to community. They were the lifelines to a sense of belonging. But they were also critical to creating a thriving democracy in a young nation. They gave a collective voice to minority populations, and with voice came participation and representation. Participation in Canada's culture, society, and economy, and representation in our governments and in the mainstream media. So today, the National Ethnic Press and Media Council includes, as you know, more than 750 print and digital media, which together inform Canadians in more than 100 languages. It really is a wonderful, wonderful fact about who we are. And in a much more evolved way, you do for your audiences what those early foreign language publications did for theirs. You welcome them, you connect them to their communities here in Ontario, and wherever they have roots or relatives around around the world. But it goes beyond that, because when you help people feel that sense of belonging, you give them a voice. It's as simple and as complicated as that. You empower more people to participate across Canadian society and to bring all the richness of their backgrounds with them into the mainstream. And whether it's in culture or in business, government or media, we all benefit socially and economically when these voices are represented and can speak freely. In many ways, this has always been the idea of Canada, but we haven't always lived up to that ideal. But with the work that you do as journalists, we are getting closer. We are getting there. With the work that you do, making sure that mainstream media is a mirror on our whole society and not just a window on certain segments of it, we're getting closer. And as a politician who believes deeply in the power of equality and is only in this business, I'm only in this business to help people to access opportunity and the security that they deserve. And as that person, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for what you do. Your work and our relationship plays a very big role in helping me stay connected to the stories that matter in communities across the province. And the relationship that I have had with you since I was elected in 2003 has very much informed what I know about how we are doing as a pluralistic and multicultural society, because you give me that feedback. So once again, Thomas and the whole team, thank you very much for inviting me here tonight once again. And to all of you, thank you for the work that you do. I look forward to our continuing and our evolving relationship. Merci, miigwech.
Kathleen, you know what? I would like you to stay here because I know Kathleen for about 15 years. And whenever I look at Kathleen and I think of Kathleen, I look at her in two different perspectives. One as a leader, and one because her English is so good as an English teacher. I don't know why. I look at her and I said, she's a leader. Now, there are three kinds of people in this world. One, the ones that make things happen. Two, the ones that let things happen to them. And three, the ones that say, what the heck happened? Well, Kathleen is in group number one because she makes things happen. She's a leader and she has guts, and I respect that very much.
Thank you very
Congratulations.
much. Thank you.
But don't leave me yet. One
leave
more.
you, okay.
Why do I think about you as an English teacher? Because English is not
Because I was?
Oh, good. There it is. And I was a student. It's great to have you here, and we honor you and we respect you, and thank you for being here.
The distinguished guests, one and all my council colleagues, Norm Kelly, of course, is here, Jim Karagianis is here, the Deputy Police Chief is here. I'm so delighted to see the former Chief of the York Regional Police, my friend Armand Labarge, here as well, because I used to see a lot more of him when we were both attending every event together. And distinguished guests, one and all. I'm just so happy to be here. Thomas, I've learned over the years, and you'll all know this, is not somebody you say no to. When he calls and says there's an event on, you generally cancel everything else you have in your calendar and make sure that you can attend his event. But I was delighted to come. I've come here many years, in fact, to this hall in previous years to first and foremost take the occasion, as we would do each year at this event, to wish you a happy holiday and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. It is a time when people of many different cultures and backgrounds come together and find it as a special occasion for faith and for family. And it's a time of the year when people actually don't think as much about politicians, which can be a blessing for both sides of that equation, for the politicians too. I want to say thank you. Many of you are involved, of course, in the multilingual media, and I want to say thank you for the role that you play. I came to understand many years ago in my business involvement, somebody, I guess, who probably launched more multilingual television services than anybody else in Canada, that worked for years on making Omni Television something that could be a success. But aside from the business of it all, I came to understand just how many people relied in different ways for their information and for their communication and for their engagement and for feeling a sense of belonging, whether it's to Toronto or to Ontario or to Canada, on the media that would be described as not in the mainstream. They relied on that so much, and I came to understand how important those businesses were in that respect, and came to understand at the same time, and we've discussed this many times when I've been at different events that Thomas has put on, that our businesses and our governments have to acknowledge to a greater extent that themselves, because oftentimes we, and I now have to call myself part of one of the governments as opposed to being some sort of an outsider, we don't use them often enough to communicate information we have to communicate to people in this city or in the province or elsewhere, just because it has not been a force of habit. I want to just say to you, and it's not an occasion for a long speech, I've been Mayor of Toronto for exactly 12 days. This is not a very long time, but I'm keenly aware of a couple of things after that very short period of time. First of all, I've come to understand very, very quickly, and I knew it before, but it's put in front of you very clearly when you have one of these jobs, that you can't do these jobs on your own. You have to do them in partnership with other people. You need that partnership to get advice. You need that partnership to get help. You need it to just move things forward. And I can tell you right now, one of the partnerships I most look forward to continuing to grow and to make more productive is the partnership I will have with Premier Kathleen Wynne. I just know that we are going to be able to work together because we're both interested in advancing things, whether it be public transit or whether it be issues related to social justice. And I'm looking forward to having that kind of an ongoing relationship with her that is productive and that is constructive and can get things done for people, because that's what we're here to do. I also, indeed, please. I also look forward to forging an even more effective ongoing partnership with you, and that is, yes, it is about business in some respects, because I think it's time that we started to use a lot of the organizations you represent more effectively to communicate with people, because I think a lot of the problems that stand in the way of mutual understanding in a city like this, which does it pretty well, relative to others, is the fact that there are some people we have more challenges communicating with, and we don't use some of the means at our disposal to do that. Secondly, among things you learn in the 12 days, you learn again, and it's an experience I've had over and over again, what a privilege public service is. And that's something I know that is shared by my colleagues, Jim Karagianis and Norm Kelly, and I'll come back to make a special mention of Norm in just a moment, because I know you're going to be paying tribute to him tonight. And today I visited with snowplow operators at a works yard in Etobicoke to say thank you for the job they did this week. And all of those things, one after the other, remind you what a privilege it is to be involved in public service and to be able to serve your community. And finally, of course, you are reminded every day in public service that as lucky as we are and as blessed as we are, there are still far too many people, even in a city like this, in a province like this, which are so well off compared to the rest of the world, too many people who are struggling. And if we're to be true to our values, and I think we all believe as Canadians, whether we're Canadians of generations and duration or Canadians that are relatively new, we believe that our values say no one is left behind. And I think if we do believe that, and I know we do, then it means in the new year we're going to have to redouble our efforts, all of us together. And it isn't just about politicians and people who work in government. It's about everybody in business and in labor and in the community getting together to decide that we're going to bring our talents and energies to bear on this, which I think is our biggest challenge. And that really is what we'll sometimes call social justice, or just making sure that everybody's included. I want to just conclude by saying when you use the words talent and energy and duty and so on, I know you're going to say a few words about Norm Kelly and the particular service that he's rendered to the city for many years, and the particular service within that period of time he rendered in the last couple of years. And I just want to acknowledge in advance of whatever you may have to say about him, that he is somebody who I think when you look up public service in the dictionary, you find Norm Kelly's picture. And I'm just honored now to have the opportunity myself for the first time to serve on the Toronto City Council with him. I've known him for years, but now I'm getting a chance to serve with him. And I just want to say, Norm, thank you for a job well done over many, many years on behalf of the people of Toronto. So again, where's Tom gone? He's over. He's over greeting guests. Oh, there. Oh, what are you lurking behind the flags? And again, Tom, I want to say thank you for inviting us all here. Thank you for insisting we come. We can never say no to you. And a happy holiday to you as well. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Phyllis Bilia, who is a very, very good friend of ours. Dr. Bilia is the medical director. Dr. Bilia, over here. I want to introduce you to the Premier and the Mayor of Toronto.
Hi.
So Dr. Bilia is the medical director of the Mechanical Circulatory Support Program at the Peter Munk Cardiac Center and co-director of the Peter Munk Cardiovascular Biobank at the University Health Network. She is also an assistant professor at the University of Toronto with an additional appointment as a scientist at the Toronto General Research Institute in Advanced Therapeutics. Prior to becoming an MD, she completed a PhD in one of the top stem cell labs in Toronto and went on to have a postdoctoral training with Dr. Takmak, one of Canada's premier scientists. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Phyllis one day is going to win the Nobel Prize for Medicine.
All right, I mean.